I met this girl when I was 10 years old, and what I loved most, she had so much so. Hey everybody, it's Old School Heart back with another episode of Where My Girls At. This is episode 5. I hope all of you guys are doing well out there. I hope that this series has brought awareness to all of the missing black girls and women out there. Please do me a favor, because it's so important that we keep these women's names alive. Do me a favor and hit the subscribe button so that you get notified when I do more videos on missing black girls. Also like this video so that it's shown in the algorithms here at YouTube, and also share this video. It's so important to share this video so that these women's names, lives are kept alive, that we still diligently seek after searching for them, looking in low places, high places, all of that. And so do that for me if you could. So today's video is going to be another one that puzzled me quite a bit, but I want to share a different perspective, like I've done with all of the missing black girl videos that I've done here at Where Your Girls At. I want to share a specific perspective on parenting and different things like that. I am not a parent, but I do think that I can share a little bit of perspective on just the dangers of social media, the media altogether, and how they affect how people choose to parent. So stay tuned for episode 5 of Where My Girls At, Phoenix Coldon. I think whenever someone becomes a parent, their first instinct is protection. So they create safety. Fort Knoxing a child's entire life, right? Orchestrating every move with precision. The activities, the friends, the school, all of it perfectly planned to protect. Now, this is alongside love, because love is the only reason why we protect, right? So when you put love and protection together, you get the perfect child, right? Well, maybe not. This is the story of the disappearance of Phoenix Coldon. Episode 5, Where My Girls At. So I want to do this story a little bit different than I've done the other episodes, right? Let's go in reverse on this one. So, a black 1998 Chevy Blazer was left in the middle of the street, doors wide open. Now, this is in East St. Louis. Now, in this car is a purse, glasses, an ID, and a pair of shoes, along with some other things that were left in the car. Doors are wide open. So a couple of weeks go by, right, with nobody identifying this car. Finally, someone identifies this vehicle, and it belongs to a young black missing girl by the name of Phoenix Coldon. Phoenix left her home December 18, 2011, and has never returned. But many have asked the question, is she missing, or did she never want to return home? Phoenix Coldon was born in California in 1988. Now, I could not find her specific birth date. I don't know if the family wanted to keep that private or they were told to keep that private, but I did not have a specific birth date for her. But I do know that she was born in California in 1988. Her parents were Goldia, hopefully I'm saying that name right, and Lawrence Coldon. They stayed in California for some time until Mr. Coldon actually received a promotion or a job offer in the Missouri area. And so around the time Phoenix was 8 or 9 years old, they relocated the family to Missouri. Now, the Coldings were very, very loving parents, but what some would consider quite strict, very strict in fact. They homeschooled Phoenix. They were very, very religious, super religious people. Everything was centered around religion with them, which meant that Phoenix really wasn't allowed to explore like some other kids were able to. I come from a strict family as well, so I definitely can feel the sentiments with Phoenix. Very, very strict parents, not able to do very, very much. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit later in the episode. So now, strict parenting did not mean Phoenix did not enjoy life as a child. Well, at least some aspects of her life as a child, because I'm going to find out later why that is so. They allowed Phoenix to explore many talents. One of them being fencing. She was really, really good at fencing. I believe she won a junior award for it. So they allowed her to do fencing. She loved music. She could play piano, guitar, and violin. People described her as very, very intelligent, polite, and very, very friendly. She was able to flourish as a child as they tried their best with a lot of restrictions to allow her to explore who she was as a young girl within limitations, of course. Now, once again, they did say that Phoenix was very, very intelligent, very, very polite, very, very sweet, warm even. But months, even maybe a year or two before her disappearance, those characteristics were kind of hard to equate with Phoenix. Something in Phoenix had changed, actually. One of them being her relationship with her parents. She was changing. They were trying their hardest to adjust to the change, but it seemed like the two were clashing because as she was maturing, of course, with any parent, as you're maturing, they're still trying to like hold on to the innocence of your youth and trying to still give you guidance. And as much guidance as you're trying to, as the parents are trying to give, the more the child is kind of breaking away from that. So, you know, their relationship was kind of made a little difficult as that was going on, right? And then you also have the friends of Phoenix, right? Friends would describe her behavior as different as well. One of her close friends said she was kind of paranoid, afraid she was being watched. And because of that, she was really kind of snappy, really kind of what some would describe as having like an attitude, you know. They even said she kept a knife with her. And her friend Asia was the one who actually said that in an interview. And Asia just was kind of trying to figure out what that was all about. And even Asia was like, so what are you planning on doing with this knife? Are you trying to use it on me? Or, you know, what is the knife for? And Asia kind of was snapping and was like, if I have to, I will. So there was a difference in her character leading up to her disappearance that kind of was questionable for her friends in particular, not so much her parents. Now, her friends knew quite a great deal about, you know, this attitude shift, but her parents were not aware of what was going on, not until after her disappearance. They didn't know that, you know, Phoenix was just, I would say, changing in a way that it would cause them alarm or cause them to think differently, not until after her disappearance. And that happens with a lot. You know, you'll see people say time and time again, I noticed a difference in this person. I noticed a shift in this person. So they didn't discover that until after her disappearance. This is when they discovered there were things about Phoenix that she was most definitely hiding from them. One major thing that she was hiding from them was that she did not re-enroll for the upcoming semester in college. Now they did not know that that was something that Phoenix was not going to be returning to. This is a family that was super, super religious, but also very, very educated and had promoted education with Phoenix. And they knew that she was having some difficulty with school, but they did not know that she hadn't re-enrolled herself in school. School was very, very big for them. And so that was something that they did not know. Her friends knew a lot more about just this change. Once again, they knew pretty much all of it. They knew that she was listening to rap music. They knew that she was dating, and she had even lived with her boyfriend before she returned back to her parents' house. They even knew that she tried drugs, and these are friends that she's had from the beginning, right? So these are friends who are part of super religious families as well. And so this type of stuff for them was like a huge change or a transition for somebody like Phoenix. They didn't grow up that way. And so when she started to do these things, of course, they started to notice a lot sooner, because, you know, when you're raised in that type of atmosphere, when you start doing stuff that's not necessarily considered bad, the drugs are considered bad, but not necessarily the listening to rap music, the living with the boyfriend. That's common stuff for people to do. But in the religious sector, with religious friends that you've been raised around your entire life, and they haven't shifted their beliefs or anything like that, they're going to see this change as pretty drastic, right? Now, what Phoenix was doing was, like I said, quite typical for anyone who had strict parents and wanted to break free and see what the world was all about, right? And that's what makes this case in particular very, very difficult. Here you have really, really strict parents, right? Strict religious parents at that, who unintentionally feel as if they know what's best for their child, right? And so what they do is they create a life of safety and protection because of said belief, right? Said religious belief. And, you know, because, you know, they've concocted this in my mind. This is the way that I'm going to raise my child. And rightfully so, right? You know, I'm not a parent, but I have this idea of how I want my child to be raised if I do, in fact, have a child. I have an idea of how I want my child to be raised. I have an idea of how I want my child to be protected. And I think a lot of times is the media has conditioned a sort of fear in parents, right? We have, you know, abductions, rape, right? We have molestation, we have violence on TV, we have murder. So from all of this stuff that's being fed into our minds on a daily basis, parents have to figure out how to effectively parent and how to create an environment of safety, right? Along with values and other things that they want to instill in their child. I wonder sometimes, do we consider that a lot of the reason why parents implement such a strict setting stems from all that society throws at them? You know, I think that the reason, you know, why parents like, you know, Phoenix's, or even mine for that matter, especially my mom, even mine, create sort of this really restrictive behavior is because they're trying to protect from what all they've heard and seen. They're trying to create a place of safety, even with their past history in life and things of that nature. I just think that we need to consider that when we talk about strict parenting, because I don't want to put a blame on these parents at all. I'm not blaming them at all. However, unfortunately, one of the possible side effects of strict parenting can result in rebellion. Rebellion is really huge. And we've seen this time and time again. Church girls, a lot of people say a lot of things about church girls. But what they don't consider is the fact that, a lot of the reason why church girls or these girls wild out is because of strict parenting. And unfortunately, like I said, one of the side effects of strict parenting can be rebellion. As a child comes into their own, and they start to rebel. They start to think for themselves. They start to develop their own personalities outside of what they've been taught. And I think that's what you see with Phoenix. I think that's what you see. And the reason why some thought maybe she wasn't missing, but more so she ran away. Now, there are a couple of social media posts that Phoenix actually writes that kind of supports the idea that she may have ran away instead of being missing. There is a selfie video, an infamous selfie video that actually I could not find because I think it was taken down or it's gotten lost, whatever. There is a selfie video where Phoenix explains that she wishes things could be a little bit different. She wishes she could actually, start over. Now I'm going to read what she says in that video. She says, I just want to be happy, man. I can't remember a time when I was happy, genuinely happy. I feel so stupid because I let myself go a little bit. This is what she says. I probably would have been in a better situation if I would have stuck with how it used to be. Man, that's something. She was 23. She was 23 when she went missing. She was really, really trying to figure herself out, figure it all out. And for someone who totally understands having a very strict religious parent, my mother specifically, growing up and trying to discover your very own identity is very, very difficult. It's really, really difficult. And not only is it difficult, but because you've been so sheltered, you've been so hidden, decisions that may come easy for other people who were able to explore don't come easy for you. And I understand that, Phoenix could have probably hit some pretty serious bumps trying to figure it out. Because, you don't have an example of how to do it. And so you're learning as you go. I remember going off to college from being a church girl, being very, very sheltered, being restricted on who I could see as a child. I remember making some really, really dumb decisions when I got to college, being very, very dumb, and just having to try to figure out how to change all of that. And I'm sure Phoenix was doing the same thing. I'm pretty sure that she had made some decisions that probably, messed up some things for her. But I think that she was in her own way trying to figure out how to handle all of that, how to fix all of that, and how to recover. But the real question is, does that mean that one day, in particular for Phoenix Coldon, December 18th, that one day you get in your car outside of the home you share with your parents, right? You talk on the phone in that car, in that driveway, right? You jet out of that driveway just unexpectedly without telling your parents where you're going, and you never return. Not necessarily, and especially not in the way that Phoenix's car was found abandoned in a not so safe neighborhood in East St. Louis, right? And by East St. Louis, I'm talking about one of the most dangerous places in the United States to live. Now, that's been said a couple of times. That's been on every data data log of violence and everything. We're talking about East St. Louis, Illinois. It's just a notorious place of murder, of mischief, and all of that other stuff. I even had, as a resident assistant, a couple of residents in college actually who lived in that area that used to just tell me, different stories about that area. Not all bad either, but just used to tell me that it was a wild place to stay. And so, like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that because she said all of this, this is the way that she would actually run away, right? There's a better way. I think there's a more strategic way that I think Phoenix Coldon would have done it, right? Now let's talk about December 18th, right? This is a Sunday. So nothing from that day seemed odd, right? Nothing. Phoenix went to church with her parents, right? And stayed home after that until she went outside to her car in the afternoon to have a phone conversation. Now, her mom said that she had been doing that quite a bit, like having a conversation in her room privately just wasn't enough. She would actually take her cell phone and go to her car and have these conversations. So that was something that she had done. Like I said, that was another thing that she had done that was quite odd for her. She had been doing that for about a year or two, living with her parents, just going out to her car to chit chat. Now, her father just so happened just to look outside around 3 p.m. and that's when he saw Phoenix start the car up and reverse and jet out of the driveway. And that was like the last time he actually saw her. Now, both parents say they thought nothing of this. They thought that Phoenix was probably going to a friend's house, or she was going to a grocery store, or she was just running an errand. They didn't think that she would not return, so when she didn't return that night, they knew that something was wrong because of the way that she jetted out, and she literally didn't call and say where she was or what was happening with her. They knew that this was just odd behavior for Phoenix. Now, unlike the other girls that I've done before in my previous episodes, the media attention for Phoenix Coldon was not as big or huge as the other girls. She did not receive that much media attention. And the parents have talked about how discouraged they were at the cops on this investigation and the media as well, because they felt like they weren't doing enough. And even though Phoenix, had made claims of wanting to get away and had wanted to run away, the way in which she left, and I said this before, the way in which she left was unlike her or anybody for that matter. But, we've talked about before, and this is the reason for these episodes and this show to begin with, we've talked about, how Black families are treated in the media when their child goes missing. It's almost like there are particular cases that the media wants to highlight, and then there are some that they choose not to. And I think, like I said, with this one in particular, the media kind of shied away from this because of the Facebook, the social media posts, because, she came from a strict background, and a lot of people felt that, she just wanted to get away, and then eventually she'll come back. That was the reason why they felt like they didn't need to find her. But when you have somebody that literally leaves their car in one of the unsafest neighborhoods in the United States and leaves all of their belongings in there, the media and the police should have been like, not right. Something's wrong. Something's off here. Let's get as much involvement of the community as we can. Even though, you know, Phoenix was 25 minutes from her house, let's get that whole radius, that whole community on guard to try to find this young woman, right? So what was discovered after her disappearance? We already talked about the fact that Phoenix didn't enroll for the next semester in college. Also, it was discovered that Phoenix was involved with two men, right? One of those men being her steady boyfriend by the name of Mike. Now, this Mike in particular was also the young man that she was staying with before she went back to live with her parents. That's what the parents did not know. They did not know that in between her moving out of wherever she was at and moving back in with her, she was staying with a Mike. Now, it was also discovered that she had a side boyfriend or a side friend also by the name of Mike. Now, this was discovered when the cops and Phoenix parents found out that she had another cell phone. So that was another discovery that, you know, she kept two cell phones, one that her parents knew about and another one that she paid for on her own. She was on her family's account on one. And I think she kept a separate phone because, of course, if you're not the account holder, then they're able to see everything, the text messages, all of that. They can ask for all of that information, and rightfully so, it's underneath their plan. So she had two cell phones. The other phone had conversation from a guy she was talking to, once again, by the name of Mike. Now, this other Mike was a little bit sketchy. This Mike was said to be kind of abusive, according to an ex. And at one point, the ex had asked about if he knew what happened to Phoenix. And he was like, why would I care? Phoenix is dead. Now, there is no information that Phoenix is dead. It's only been said that Phoenix was missing. But according to him, you know, Phoenix was dead. So I don't know how far the investigation went in looking into Mike, the side dude. But it looks like not much had came from Mike, the side dude, because we're, 10 years in, and yet he hasn't come up as being implicated in this particular missing persons case. And of course, there is still no body, so he wasn't implicated in that. Now, let's also talk about the car. Now, the car actually was found January 2nd, I believe. One of Phoenix's cousins, decided to just search around for cars that were impounded and things of that nature, and they were driving, and they actually found her car in a lot in East St. Louis. Because remember, they stay in Missouri, and they stay about 25 minutes away, and so the reason why the car wasn't found initially, because it wasn't in Missouri, it was in Illinois, and so that is the reason why the car wasn't found until January 1st or 2nd. Now, it was thoroughly searched once it was found, and it was fingerprinted. But the only fingerprints that ended up coming up was Phoenix's fingerprints and also her mom and dad's. And so those were the only people, I guess, that had been in the car. Even after the car was found with the doors wide open in East St. Louis, which is, even though I said that this place is known as the most dangerous place in the United States, one thing is, a lot of times in our community, especially in the Black community, if something is left like that, we don't bother it. There are a lot of people, I've seen this happen before, where I've seen like somebody's car door like just open, and I walked right dead ass past it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't know if it's a setup. And I believe, even in our neighborhoods where it is dangerous, where there is a lot of violence that takes place, we just ain't gonna touch nothing that's not ours, and we don't know what the deal is. And so I will say that in defense of East St. Louis, okay? I do want to put that also out there also. Also, I did want to note that the car was impounded pretty quickly from the time her father said she had left the house. So Lawrence Coldon said that she left the house about 3 p.m. that day. The car was impounded by 5:30 that day. So there wasn't that much time in between when she left the house at 3 o'clock and when the car was impounded. Now, take into the fact that it takes 25 to 35 minutes from where she lived to where the car was found. So they also said at first there was a lot of reports going out that that car was actually running when they found it, but that was found to be untrue. The car was not running at the time. Now the keys were still left in the car, and this is what I said when I said that, you know, black people be real suspicious, and so when, you know, something is left like that, a lot of times we ain't about to hop in that car, you know, as black people, when, you know, go looking, you know, go taking it for a joyride. We're not going to do that. Even little kids are wise enough to know that that's probably not a car to mess with. So you have the car abandoned in East St. Louis, Illinois, with a purse, ID, glasses, and it was discovered that she had a couple of past due bills and bill statements in that car. But no one saw Phoenix. No one saw her running out of the car, which is really, really very, very suspicious. You know, in a statement that was posted by Missouri Sheriff's Association, Representative Nathan Tate, I believe his name is Nathan St. Clair, said that the St. Louis metro region is one of the top 20 areas in the country for human trafficking. And so that is one of the possibilities here, is that there was a human trafficking abduction, right? They took Phoenix, and maybe she just didn't have time to scream or yell where she was at in East St. Louis. Maybe it went by so fast that, you know, the only thing that she could do was just be taken. So, I mean, there is a possibility that she is a part of sex trafficking. It had to do with some foul play, because, as I said repeatedly, it's just odd the way that this all came about, that she went missing. It's just completely odd, you know. And because of that, you know, it has been a hard case to investigate. There have been several leads over the years. And so the family has acted upon every lead that they've received over the years. They've hired private investigators. Anytime someone said that there was a Phoenix sighting, and I watched a video of a man that he said he saw her, right? And I believe it was somewhere down in like New Orleans or Louisiana or something like that. He said he saw her, and he talked to her uncle or something like that, and he told him that he saw her, but he said he looked like somebody that didn't want to be found. And I just went like who says that? First of all, who says that? You see a girl that you know looks like Phoenix, and you don't immediately get on the phone, call, and say, man, I think I saw her. Here's where she's located. You say, I didn't want to be a bother because she seemed like she didn't want to be bothered. She seemed like she didn't want to be found. You know, that's crazy. There were stories like that I saw that was it just didn't make any sense. A couple of years ago, actually, they followed a lead. The parents actually followed a lead of a man that said that he also saw her in Texas. Like, they literally followed the lead. And they thought that what he was saying was really, really convincing. And so they did everything that they could to go with what this man was saying. And the whole time, this man was lying and just trying to get some media attention. He had heard of her case on different interviews in different places that they saw on the media. And so basically he kind of gathered all that information and tricked Phoenix's parents into believing he knew what was going on, and he didn't. Because of that, you know, they put all of their life savings, every last penny that they had, into trying to find her, and in particular with this person in Texas. And because of that, they lost their home. Like, they literally lost their home. And they tried their best to fight with the mortgage company and try to explain exactly why they couldn't pay their mortgage, and being hustled out of their money by this person in Texas, which that person in Texas faced no criminal charges, which is beyond me. He should have faced something, fraud, something, you know, for playing with these people's hearts and minds like that. But unfortunately, they lost their home. And this is the part about missing persons that rarely do people talk about, is how much they invest in finding their family, how much time they invest in finding their family, only for it to lead to nowhere. And a lot of times, you know, it leads to parents divorcing. It leads to separation. It leads to families breaking apart. It leads to losing your home. We talked about, like, last week, how astonishing it was that the degrees were still together, you know, because a lot of times this breaks people up. And unfortunately, with the Coldons, they've sacrificed a lot and they've lost a lot. And that's just sad. You know, that's really, really a sad place to be in. Now, Phoenix, over the years, because of the criticism, once again, that people have made towards the media about missing Black women, her story, her disappearance, her case has been picked up by a couple of TV networks. And so Oxygen did the story of her disappearance, and TV One, the all Black station, did Find Our Missing, about Phoenix Coldon. And so her family has done numerous interviews with the media, TV news, all of that. They've done a number of that throughout the years, trying to keep her name alive, you know, from initially not receiving any real attention from the media. And so this is just difficult. You know, this is one of those ones that's, once again, very, very puzzling. All of them have been puzzling, but this one in particular, because it does raise the question of, you know, did Phoenix really, really just want to get away? Was she dealing with mental issues and she just left? Or is this way more sinister? You know, is there is just high sex trafficking in that area? Had they gotten so good that they were able to kidnap her without a trace, without anybody knowing anything? Was that possible in that area? These are really, really tough questions to ask. And I know that the family probably has drawn themselves crazy trying to figure it out. Of course, I will post information about who you can contact about Phoenix Coldon, her missing person. Any information that you have. Let me know how you feel about this story in particular, and how you give me your opinions about, you know, strict parenting, and, you know, if you've dealt with that as a child, if you deal with it as a parent, how do you protect without allowing your child to explore? Or how do you protect with allowing your child to explore. How do you deal with all of that? How do you parent in an environment that is really, that some would consider really, really violent? Let me know in the comments your feelings towards this disappearance. What you've heard about Phoenix Coldon. I'd be interested to know any information that you have. So this is episode 5 of Where My Girls At, Phoenix Coldon. Have a great rest of the night. Be on the lookout for a cultural conversation this Sunday night or early Monday morning. This is Old School Heart. Be safe out there, okay?